main and other functions should be the part of any class. And a class must be a public, at least one public class should be there in one Java file, and that Java file is named with that class. For example, in this case here it is something or other, so our Java file is something or other.java. Then we have seen what is a class, and it contains fields and methods, and Java is case sensitive. Case sensitive means if I write capital MAX and small max, these are two different words. So it will not match the spelling, it will match the cases too. Class name should begin with a capital letter. All other names should begin with lowercase letter. Subsequent words can be capitalized, and underscores are not used in the names, like identifier name of your function or name of variable. Avoid to use underscores. Note that these are just conventions. This is, you will not get error if you used small case letter for class name, but keep in mind that class name should start with capital letter just to avoid naming conflicts in future. In Java, classes are arranged in hierarchy. In previous unit number 1, we have seen that Java support in object-oriented programming support inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. So we can have a parent, and parent derives more than one classes. So on the same line, Java classes are also arranged in hierarchy. Means topmost class is called root, the root of a tree, and that is a topmost class. That class name is object. Now don't confuse with the word object that we have seen class and object, but here in Java the topmost class is called as object, and all other classes either in any of the package like java.lang or java.util or any inbuilt package or any class in Java must be derived from this object class. So any class which is a child of object class. So every class must object has at least one superclass. A class may have subclasses. Each class inherits all the fields and methods of their superclasses. So even if we write a class something or other, some like this, we are not mentioning whether it is a child of any class, but by default, whenever you write any class, it is a child of java.object class, java.lang.object class. Every class but object means object is topmost class, so it will not have any super class, but whatever the class you create, it should have at least one super class. A class may have subclasses, means that class can derive more than one class, and each class means whenever you create a class, it inherits, get the information from all fields and methods of possibly more than one super classes. So this is the syntax of Java class. Keyword is class. Class is a keyword. Note that small c. This is the name of your class. You can use any name. If I'm creating a class student, my class name should be student. So this is user defined name, but this is a keyword class. Then person, and the person should have name and age. So type of name is string and type of age is integer, that we have decided. So this information is related with a person. So these are called variables or instance variables. And we are defining a method which will operate on these variables, say birthday. So on his birthday, we'll increment the age and will display this person is of this age now. So how to create this class? So suppose wait a minute. Note that whenever you create any class, that should be outside the main class. Now here I am creating a class person, string name, integer age, and this is the function of that class which is working or which will operate on these variables. Birthday is a function which is incrementing age, and this is my,
Visible.
is it visible, GDB?
Yes, ma'am.
So this class person with name and age and birthday function I have copied here, and note that we already have main function class main, public static void main, and how to use this class, we need to create an object of this class. So to create object, person, suppose the name of that person is Ram, is equal to new person. So this is how we can create object. Okay, and then how to call method? So Ram dot birthday, and we need to initialize that age. So we need a constructor, or we need one method which will assign age to this variable. So for that we are using a constructor. Constructor is a special method whose name is similar to that of class. Age is equal to say a, and a we pass in this function. And before calling this, we can pass age, say 20. If I execute this, so note that I have created a class person with two variables, name and age. This is a constructor, a special function which name is similar to that of class, and we can pass parameter to it, and this is used to initialize variables. And we can also initialize name, because we are displaying name here, and we haven't yet initialized the name. Name equal to name, and here we'll pass function name, say Ra. Okay, so if I run this, This is a Python tutor. I shared this link on Moodle. Here you can check how program gets executed step by step. So same program, class person with name and age, constructor, which assign age and name to these variables are class variables, and function method one, which is birthday, which is incrementing age and displaying some message. And in main class, note that here only one public class, so file name is your class name and .java. It should contain main, and in main I'm creating two objects, p1 and p2. So how this program will work? Okay, so note that execution will always start from main. Main is at line number 21. But first line to get executed is line number 23. So our execution is started from main 23. Is it visible? You can see this?
Yes, ma'am.
So our first line is person P1 is equal to new person, and we are passing these parameters. So these parameters will be passed to this constructor. So here value of A is 10 and value of NM is Rinku. And this will get assigned to our object P1. Okay. So when I press next, the pointer is still at 23. I'm printing next. So now it is executing line number 23, green arrow, and then control is transferred to line number 7, that is person constructor. And note that here something happened. Memory is allocated to A and NM. A and NM, these are formal parameters. And here name and age is currently, note that we haven't initialized it to 0 or null, but automatically Java constructor initialize it to 0, integer, as it is integer to 0. For string it is null. And value of A is 10 and value of NM is 20, because we passed it from here, 10 and Rinku, sorry. So A is 10 and NM is Rinku. And this is the current object, that is P1. So now this assignment will take place. Value of A will be copied in age and value of NM will be copied in name. And note that very carefully, I am assigning string as it is integer or float. In C or C++, you need a string operation, strcpy, string copy function, to copy one string to other, or you need a for loop to copy character by character from one string to other. But in Java, strings are considered as objects, so you can directly assign name string to name string in our example. So I'm pressing next. So age is modified to 10 and name is modified to Rinku. So this is, what is this? Person instance. So person object is created and it is initialized to whatever the values user had sent. And now this person, you are going to call it as P1, right? So with this new person 1020, it has allocated a space in memory. It has initialized these variables and it is just a person instance. So only right hand side of this assignment operator, new person 10 Rinku, is executed. And when you assign this object to P1, so look at here. So you are back to line number 23 and now P1, object P1 is created, who is pointing to this memory location. That's why it is called instance of an class. So class is saying every object should have name and age. But actual name and age, when you allocate, it is nothing but the object or instance of a class. So when you talk about P1, P1 is pointing to a memory where this object is present. Now if I want to create one more object, P2, again the same thing will happen. Now A and NM will be 20 and Pinku, person instance, null and 0 for age and name. So it will allocate 20 and Pinku to name and age. And this object, newly created object, will be allocated to P2. So we have two objects, P1 and P2, and P1 is pointing to Rinku, whose age is 10, and P2 is pointing to Pinku, whose age is 20. So you can create any number of objects like this with this class definition. So what you have done, you have just created this class, and in main you are just creating these objects. Now suppose I want to call a function. I want to call a function birthday for Rinku. So how to call a function? P1 dot function name birthday. What will be the output?
Rinku is now 10.
So this P1 dot birthday, I'll execute it very fast. So we have these two objects created, P1 and P2. Now note that for function, memory is allocated only once, that is a static allocation. And for variables, memory is allocated dynamically on a heap. Whenever you create object, then only memory gets allocated. But for functions, memory is allocated at the time of compilation, and function is common between all the objects. So even you call it P1 or P2, it will call the same function, but this age and name will be referred for that particular object. So here, now we are calling birthday function, which is at line number 14. This line gets executed. Note that now this age, it is pointing to P1, object P1. So age, it will refer 10. And then it will increment that age to 11 and print. So output is Rinku is now 11. And suppose you want the birth date of Pinku, then P2 dot birthday. For P2, it will point to that P2 object, and age is now of P2, name is of P2, that is Pinku is now 21. This age will be incremented for P2. So for the object that you are calling a function, only that object memory will be solved. So don't worry, it will take, as we are using online editor, sometimes it takes time. So we have this P1 and P2, two persons, and first we printed it for Rinku, age is 11, and output is Rinku is now 11. Now for birthday function, line number 26 will get executed, same function will be called for another object. So now this pointer is pointing to Pinku, that P2 instance, and it will increment the age first. So age will get incremented for second object, that is Pinku, P2, and display this message, Pinku is now 21. So we have a class. Class has method variables and methods working on these variables. So class variables are called instance variables and methods are called instance methods. So in Java, we use a class with access specifiers, can be public, private, protected, or default. Then class is a keyword, and this is your class name. Like here we use person, or we can use student, or we can use box, whatever the class you want to create, that is your class name. Then in a class you can have methods. Like here we have public static void main method, and method can have various statements. So class is declared by use of class keyword. Then the data or variables defined within a class are called instance variables, and the method, the code is contained within the methods. And collectively, method and the variable defined within a class are called members of a class. So what are the members of a class? Variables and methods. So in general, you can see class is like this, class and class name. Then you can have instance variables, multiple instance variables. Here we have used two, name and say age, but we can define any number of instance variables. Even object of another class can be an instance variable of your class. Type and instance variable name, like this. And variables followed by instance methods. So method 1, method 2, method 3. Methods are similar to functions like in C or C++. So method should have method name, then parameter list and return type and method body. So variables defined within a class are called instance variables. Why? Because each instance of a class, that is each object of that class, contains its own copy of these variables. Just now we have seen that for P1 and P2, separate variables are allocated for name and age. Separate memory is allocated for variable name and age. That's why it is called instance variables. For every instance, memory gets allocated. Thus, data for one object is separate and unique from the data for another. So once data is defined for one object, that is different. So if I increment age of say Pinku, it will not affect age of Rinku. Rinku is different object. This is another example. Suppose class, we have created a class box, and for a class box, what are the parameters or variables? Box should have height, width and depth. So width, height and depth, these are three parameters. Note that we can define a class without any methods also. So this class is defined only with the variables. Methods are not defined. And then another class which is going to use this class. So note that we are keeping things separate. One is where we design class with variables and methods, and another function where we are creating object of that class and calling methods. Like in this example, we created a class person with variables name and age and method birthday. That is one part. That is when you design your project. And application is in main, we created objects of person P1, P2, and we call that method P1 dot, P2 dot, etc. So these are two different uses. So first create a class and then second use that class. So similarly here, this class box with width, height and depth. And another class is where we are going to use this box class. So this is box demo. I'm creating a object. How to create object? Class name, that is box, then object name, my box is equal to new box and opening and closing bracket. So here we have not assigning or passing some variable. So this will call default constructor. And then I'm defining a variable here, double volume. I want to calculate volume of this box. In main itself, I'm assigning values to these variables, width, height, and depth. But note that how to assign values to these variables, I need to refer it with the help of my object name, my box dot width, my box dot height, my box dot depth. So for this object, my box, height, width, and depth should be like this: 10, 20, and 15. And then to compute a volume, width into height into depth, but I am not using just width, height, depth. I have to write every time my box dot width, my box dot height, and my box dot depth. And then this multiplication I'm going to store in this volume variable. For volume, I'm not writing my box because volume is not instance variables of box class. It is a local variable of box demo. This is defined in this function, main function. It is not defined in this class. And here I'm displaying volume is volume. Okay, so here just note that how to create object, class name, object name is equal to new class name and opening and closing bracket.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Ma'am, ma'am, in the above means the program which we saw now, in
Huh?
that we can pass the height, width
Yes,
by using another constructor also, na, of
yes,
the same name box.
yes. You can create a constructor and you can pass these variables. And in that class, you can ask width, height, and assign width is equal to 10, depth is equal to 15, height is equal to 20. As we are starting from very basic here, I have defined a class without any methods. In next slide, we'll add method to it, then we'll add constructor to it like this.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, when you create a class, you're creating a new data type. So this will be your new data type. It is like when you create write int a or string name. Similarly, you can write person p1 or box b1, etc. So this is called user defined data type. You can use this type to declare objects of that type. So when I create person p1, so p1 is an object of type person. So it is a two-step process. First, you must declare a variable that is person p1, and then this variable does not defines the object. When I say person p1, memory is not allocated. But when we assign new person p1 is equal to new person, then only memory gets allocated. So when I write person p1, it is simply a variable that refers to the object. We have shown that dot arrow. And second, must acquire actual physical copy of that object as assign it to variable. And this is achieved through new operator. So these two steps I have shown you in Python tutor. Here I am not able to switch between tabs. So every time I have to stop presenting and then share that particular tab with you. So I have shown this example just to make you clear that here P1, when we write person P1, this line, it will just create a variable. It is just a variable which is pointing to that particular object. And when we write new person and whatever the memory, then only memory gets allocated to it. So these are two steps processes. What I can do here is, I'll just show you. I can just create person P1 and in next line, I'll say P1 is equal to new person. Okay. So this is the another way to create object. So for person P1, it have not done anything. It is directly started with this line 24. Memory is not allocated for P1. P1 is only the name and it will get allocated memory after new keyword. So memory is getting allocated and values are stored here. P1 will point to that particular memory location. So P1 is is an object who is pointing to this actual object. This is very important concept. When object gets created, you should know what happens at the end. So there are two steps. So first, when you declare a variable of class type, it does not define an object. It is an object that can refer to an object. So when you create a variable of a class, so it is just an reference to the object. This is not, you are not creating the object it. But when you are using new keyword, then actual physical copy of an object is created and assigned to that variable. So variable is just a pointer. It is pointing to actual variable or actual memory. So the new operator, it is not a keyword, basically it is an operator. New operator dynamically allocates, dynamically means runtime. When you are executing or running a program, at that time memory gets allocated. memory for an object and returns its reference to it, and then it will assign its reference. So this reference is more or less an address in memory of the object allocated by new. So another example, box, my box is equal to new box. So this is how object is created. And you can view it in two steps. This is the reference. You declare a reference to the object, and this is actually creating a memory. Allocate a box object. So memory gets allocated and its reference is stored in my box. So my box is a pointer to actual memory location. Visually you can like this, my box is just a blank null reference, memory is not allocated it. But when you use new keyword, memory is allocated and its location is stored here in my box. It is pointing to that particular object. So the class name followed by parenthesis specifies the constructor for a class. So when we write new box and this parenthesis, that means you're calling a constructor. A constructor, the name constructor, which defines what occurs when object of a class is created. So need to initialize the class members, and that is done by a constructor. Constructors are important part of a classes and have many significant attributes. If you are not providing a constructor, if it is not specified by a programmer, then Java can use its automatically supply default constructor. So that is called default constructor. Here, if I'm not created a box constructor without any parameter, so it will automatically initialize values to their default values by default constructor. So a class creates a new data type that can be used to create objects. That is, class creates logical framework that defines relationship between its members. So when you declare an object of a class, you are creating instances of that class. So note that class is logical construct. Whatever you think, you imagine, and you write. So the object should have, person should have name, age, or box should have height, width. So that is a logical construct. And actual object, when you create box, my box, or person, say Rinku, Pinku, or P1, P2. So these are actual objects which has physical reality. So I hope it is clear what is a class and what is an object.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now this is also interesting part. I'll show you with the example. Instead of box, I'm using a person class. So we have created a person P1 and memory is allocated to P1. Okay. Now for creating a person P2, instead of allocating a new memory, if I write P1, what will happen? I'm not saying person P2 is equal to new person and 20 Pinku. I'm just saying P1, person P2 is equal to P1. So what will happen? Let's see what happens.
Values of stored in P1 gets assigned to P2.
New memory will get allocated to P2.
No, ma'am, the values would get updated in the same.
So person P1 is created with normal steps, memory is allocated and it is pointing to that particular location. Now what we are doing is person P2 is equal to P1. So check what is done. Another reference, another variable is created of type person and it is pointing to same memory location. Are you getting? These two variables are pointing to same memory location. So if I say P1 dot birthday, what will it print? It will refer to that object, increment age and print Rinku is now 11. And if I say P2 dot birthday. What it will show? P2 is also pointing to the same memory location. It will again increment the age and print this line. Rinku is now 12. Because both the objects are pointing to same memory location. This is not a new object. Person P2 is not a new object. It is just another name. Another name given to the same object. If I do P1 is equal to null, that means I'm cutting that reference. I'm making P1 null. P1 is not pointing to anything. So will it work P2 dot birthday or it will show an error?
It will work, ma'am, because now the values stored in the memory locations will be again nulled and the new values of P2 will be stored.
So I have allocated a memory and that address I have stored in P1. So P1 is an object which is pointing to that particular memory location. Correct. Then I have created another name P2 which is pointing to same memory location. Now I said that P1 is null. So I am cutting that link. But P2 link is already present. So you can visualize this. So P1 memory is allocated and this link is created. So this link means P1 is not null. It is pointing to this memory location. It is nothing but actual physical address. Then P2 is another name given to the same memory location. So P1 and P2 are pointing to the same object. Now what I have done, P1 dot null. So it is first printing P1 dot birthday. So this function will execute. And now I am saying P1 dot null. So now P1 is null. This link is deleted. So this link was pointing to this address, but now that address I have replaced with null. There is no link. P1 is not pointing to anything. But P2 will still point to that person, previous object, and you'll get the output. And this P1 is null. It is not pointing to anything. So this is a garbage, and Java garbage collector will print memory which is allocated for this P1 automatically. As a user, as a programmer, I didn't have to worry about such null memory locations. Is it clear? This is difficult concept, but try to understand what I'm trying to explain you. So here again with box object, box B1 is equal to new box. So it is pointing to height, width and depth. And you are creating another object B2, which is nothing but copy of B1. So B1 and B2 are pointing to the same object. So B1 and B2 will refer to the same object. We call this as reference. B1 referring to this object, B2 is also referring to this object. The assignment of B1 and B2 did not allocate any memory or copy any part of the original project. It is just another name giving to this going for the same memory location. So it simply makes B2 to refer to the same object as that of B1. Thus, if you make any changes to the object through B2, it will affect or refer to the B1. If I change age, it was 10, P1 changed it to 11. So P2 will change it to from 11 to 12 because it will not start from 10 again. If we make B1 null.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you please show the previous program once? I had a doubt.
This, which one?
The program that we compiled on that Python or something.
Person.
Yes. Ma'am, in this, if we assign the person P2 equal to P1, after the 27th line,
Hmm.
will it show the same value of Rinku and age 12?
No,
If,
because already that age is modified by this statement P1 dot birthday.
no, see, if 25th line,
Okay.
if we put
I'll
25th,
execute it again. Should I comment this?
no, ma'am, I'm just asking you if the 25th line, if we transfer it to 28th line, and then we try to execute, then what will happen if?
So P1 and P2, these are pointing to this memory location which has name Rinku and age 10. Okay. There are two different names to that person Rinku. And now with first object P1 will is calling birthday method. So in birthday method we are incrementing the age. So this age will get incremented to 11 and it will display this message Rinku is now 11. Okay, but age is modified and that is a common variable between P1 and P2. P1 and P2 pointing to that memory location.
No, ma'am. I'm just asking if suppose we cut that line, like
That
25th line,
if you cut
and if we put it after the P1 equal to null, then P2 it
no,
will show
P2
null.
will be null. P2 will be null because whatever there P1 is pointing, that P2 will point. No.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Got it.
So P2 is pointing to what P1 is pointing, and P1 has changed this value. So P2 is now looked at the changed value, and it will change it to 12 with this age, and will print Rinku is now 12 years of age. And if you are saying instead of writing this line here, when P1 is null, if you write this, you will get an error because you are pointing to null memory location. I'll show you what is a garbage now. It sometimes takes time to execute. So object is created. It's now P1 is null. Let so P1 is created, Rinku and 11. Uh, it has printed the birthday. Pinku is now 11. This line gets executed. Now you are at line number 26. You are saying P1 is null. So this memory is already allocated. You are not freeing that memory, and now you are saying P1 is null. So P1 is not pointing to that object. Object is still in the memory. So that is a garbage. You didn't have a pointer which will point to that particular memory location. So that need to be freed so that another object should be created on that place. So that is done by Java garbage collection. So if P1 is null and if I'm saying person P2 is equal to P1, it will be also null. And now when I say P2 dot birthday, P2 is not pointing to anything. So there is no birthday method. Here Java will throw an exception. It is called null pointer exception. So you can get a null pointer exception. Your program will not work. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Got it. Thank you.
So method is similar to function in C or C++. It should have return type. If there is no return type, you can write void. It is must to write void at least. Then its visibility or access specifier, public, private, protected, etc. Then name, that is user defined function name, here birthday or something, you volume or calculate area, any function name of your choice, and then list of parameters and the body of method. So type specifies the type of return type. It can be valid, it should be valid type. So methods are specified by the name and parameter list. And it should have return value. That type of return value should match with this type. You specify in syntax. So for example, now we add method to our box volume. So method name is volume, void volume, and system.out.println volume is, and we can directly write the expression, or you can directly write a function which will calculate volume first and that variable name. And this is box demo. Here I am assigning some values to these variables. Another variable is created, box2, my box1 and box2. These are two objects created with these variables. And you can call volume method for my box1 and my box2. Just now we have called birthday method for P1 and P2. In the same line, for all the variables, any type of objects, you can call the methods. So inside a volume method, you can define these variables. No need to define these variables. These variables are defined already in a class. So here I'm in this method or function, I'm not saying integer or double width, height, depth. I can directly use these variables because these variables are class variables and this method is also class method. Or in case of person class, we have used birthday, age and name directly without creating local copy of that variable there. So even dot operator is not required if you are using in the same method. But in case of main, in main, if you are using these variables, you need this dot operator. Object name dot width, object name dot height. When you write these variables in a main. A method is always invoked relative to some object. So to call a method, you need some object. You cannot call that method directly. If the method belongs to an object, it is not a static method. You cannot call that method without any object. So to call a method, you need some object. Once invocation has occurred, the object is known. Thus, within a method, there is no need to specify object second time. This means that width, height, and depth inside volume implicitly refers to the copies of those variables found in that object that invoked volume. Meaning is, if I'm calling this volume method for, say, my box 1, so it will refer width, height, and depth of my box 1. That is 10, 20, and 15. If you call volume method for object my box 2, it will refer this height, width, and depth with this 3, 6, and 9. So copy this. You can find this program available in Java Complete Reference and try to execute it and check what is the output. And you can create multiple objects and check whether you are getting this output or not. One more thing, I'm sharing few programming assignments on Moodle page, and I request you to complete those assignments either using online editor or Eclipse or NetBeans, whatever the thing you have. So in this unit 2, this is a practice assignment. I'll make it visible.
Ma'am, do we have to submit the assignment?
Yeah, but it doesn't have any grades. This is just a practice assignment.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll explain you what you have to do. Okay. So these are C type of assignments. You won't need any class or something. You will just need how to define variables, use print statements or if loop, while loop, switch case, etc. So you should get familiar with Java environment. You should be able to write main in the class and some basic concepts how to create the object. Here object creation is not required. So addition of two numbers. Instead of accepting numbers from user, you can just assign hard-coded values. Check number is even or odd. Print maximum of two numbers, minimum of two numbers. Then addition of first 10 even numbers. So you need your for loop, while loop or for loop or if case to check whether the number is even or odd. Addition of first 10 odd numbers. Then Fibonacci series. To accept element from the user, you need a scanner class. So let me explain you scanner class. I'll explain you in the next lecture. Or you can find out how to accept input from the user using scanner class. Then display this type of pattern. Calculate factorial of a number. Instead of accepting it from a user, currently just assign some hard-coded value. Check whether the number is given is palindrome or not. So do these 10 assignments. And if you have any queries, we can discuss it in the next lecture. And try to run small code like person or box, which you can find in Java complete reference with one class at least. To create a class, create object,